Hi, it has been 16 months since my son Alec and daughter Lydia were taken from this earth via filicide. I am their mother, Hope Hooten. I have decided that it is finally time for me to read a statement that I wrote to the Arizona Family Court. This statement has been read previously by other people on my behalf, but I want to have you hear it directly from me. So please listen and see who really failed my children. The mother whose children, Alec and Lydia, were tragically failed by the Arizona family court system. This same system also failed their father, Brock, and it led to the irreversible loss of 3 lives. Between October 2023 and May 2024, the court had multiple opportunities to intervene, to listen, to protect, and to act, and it failed. I warned the court repeatedly. Brock had a standing history of instability and abuse. I had a protection order in place due to both physical and emotional abuse he inflicted on me. In October 2023, during a severe mental health crisis, Alec and Lydia were placed in a dangerous situation while in his care. After that incident, Brock was voluntarily taken to an inpatient psychiatric facility for 9 days of treatment, where he was diagnosed with bipolar with psychosis. Despite these red flags, Brock was granted unsupervised 50-50 custody of our children. That decision was made just weeks after his inpatient treatment and only a short time after beginning psychiatric medication. The court moved forward as if the danger had passed, but it hadn't. Brock was later court ordered to complete a psychological evaluation. That evaluation raised serious red flags, yet they were never meaningfully addressed. The psychologist even noted that Brock seemed very calculated in his responses and that he might not be as stable as he seemed. That statement alone should have triggered caution, further supervision, or suspension of parenting time until a full team of medical professionals could regulate and evaluate him, and until verified documentation was submitted to the court. However, none of that happened. The Arizona Family Court took no further action. When I raised concerns, our judge, Michael Valenzuela, told my attorney and wrote in court orders, "If you want to know if he is taking his medication, Hope can ask him." I was the abused spouse in a high conflict divorce case. Yet the court placed the burden of monitoring Brock's psychiatric compliance on me. There were no protocols, no medication checks, no documentation from providers, and no safety checks of any kind. There were no safeguards put in place to protect Alec and Lydia. And the result? On a weekend visitation, Brock shot and killed Alec and Lydia and then took his own life. Judge Michael Valenzuela ignored numerous red flags and completely neglected the urgency and severity of the entire case. The day after Alec, Lydia, and Brock were found dead, Michael Valenzuela held a hearing without my presence. He dismissed the family court case and sealed all of the records, even from me. I was told at the time that this was done for my protection. But now, 16 months later, I know that this is not true. The sealing of those records were not to protect me, but to hide the court's failures and to prevent the public from seeing the extent of the neglect and anything else that occurred. My children should have been protected. Alec was 7 years old. He was bright, thoughtful, full of energy. He loved Pokemon, trail life, swimming, soccer, and making people laugh. Lydia was 6 years old. She was joyful, creative, and kind. She loved unicorns, music, sparkles, and cuddling with her stuffed animals. They were radiant children. They were deeply loved, and they were taken because a system meant to protect them ignored every single warning sign. Brock asked for help. He received some, but the court failed to follow through. He was not held accountable for continuing treatment. There was no requirement for medical documentation from providers, no review of progress, no supervised parenting plan at all. The Arizona family court system failed Alec and Lydia, but it also failed Brock. He didn't need custody. He needed structured support, accountability, and supervision. Instead, the court handed him unsupervised time with our children, and 3 lives were lost. Now I am left without my children. Nothing I do will bring them back, but I will keep fighting in their honor. The Arizona family court system must change. High conflict custody cases involving abuse and mental illness must be taken seriously, and judges need training. Protocols must be put in place to protect the vulnerable, assess stability, and verify treatment. There must be real accountability, not assumptions or shortcuts. Judge Michael Valenzuela failed to do his due diligence to protect the lives of 2 innocent children. Yet he remains fully protected behind the shield of the judicial immunity. Please, I beg you, do not let Alec and Lydia's deaths be in vain. When you read court documents, when you see a parent waving red flags, don't treat it like routine paperwork. These are real lives, precious children, and your decisions determine whether they are protected or put in danger. Thank you for honoring Alec and Lydia by choosing to do better.